called Elysium. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The premise of the movie is set in the year 2154, when the Earth is overpopulated and polluted beyond rehabilitation. Many new diseases have evolved, making half of the population sick. What once used to be beautiful cities have turned into slums. Society has divided into the higher and lower classes, and the financial gap between the two is exponential. The wealthy and powerful people have created their own new place to live, far away from the poor. They live in a space station that lies on the Earth's orbit, called Elysium. Elysium is a utopian city with no sadness or sickness. It has all kinds of luxurious resources, and among them, the most important is the facility of medbay. Medbays are privately owned medical chambers that can instantly heal any disease known to humanity, or any form of physical injury. While life on Elysium is magical, life on the Earth is the exact opposite. People are governed by mindless robot police who beat them in the name of the zero-tolerance policy. At the beginning of the movie, a little boy named Max da Costa and his friend Frei Santiago read the stories about Elysium and its lavish life. Max promises Frei that he will take her to the Elysium one day. The little boy lives in an orphanage that is run by a nun whom he loves a lot. His ambition in life is to visit the Elysium one day. However, many years later, Max has grown up to be a criminal. He and Frei have lost contact, while his mother-like nun is no more. Max is trying to recover from his criminal past and is doing a normal job at Armadine Corporation, a factory where weaponry for Elysium and robot police are manufactured. One day, while going to work, some robot police approach Max and break his wrist for being disobedient. He goes to the hospital and is surprised to see his old friend Frei, who has grown up to be a nurse. The two catch up while Frei treats Max's injuries. Max tries to ask her out, but she leaves to tend to another patient before he can. The only thing worse than living in the slums is living in the friend zone. We see that the hospital is packed with people, which is considered normal because of the overpopulation and disease. Max then goes to work, where half of his pay is deducted for being late. The CEO of the Armadine Corporation is a resident of Elysium named John Carlyle. He stays on Earth to look after the factories and only cares for the company's profit. He has no sympathy for his workers' problems at all. A criminal named Spider has formulated an illegal emigration operating system for the people on Earth to enter Elysium. But the process is very risky, as only some who depart make it to Elysium without harm. First, they acquire the Elysium identification brands on their wrist, which allows them to access any facility on Elysium. After that, the people board 3 rustic-looking spaceships and head for the space station. As the ships get closer, the Defense Secretary of Elysium, Jessica Delacourt, is alerted about the breach. She contacts CM Kruger, a rogue sleeper agent, and her right-hand man on Earth. Kruger immediately obeys Jessica's orders and fires an air missile launcher at the ships. 2 of them get shot, but the missile misses the 3rd. In the 2 ships that are destroyed, 46 people are killed. Fortunately, the last ship lands on Elysium. However, before the people aboard the ship can run away, Jessica orders the guards to apprehend everyone on board. The police choppers and robots chase the Earthers and arrest them. The only 2 people able to make it to a medbay are a mother and her sick daughter. The daughter is healed in the medbay because of her identification band. When she gets out of the machine, the mother is delighted to see that she can walk properly. Right then, the robot police arrest the 2. The Earthers who resist are killed, while the others are deported back to the Earth. Back on Earth, Max is at work when a door at his workstation jams. His supervisor commands him to go inside and fix it, even though it is extremely dangerous. Max obliges, but as he goes inside, the door shuts, and he is blasted with a wave of lethal radiation. Oh boy. Well, maybe he'll get superpowers. A while later, he is dragged from the bedchamber and sent to a medical unit. He is then told by another robot that he will soon experience catastrophic organ failure and has only 5 days to live. The CEO, John, comes to see Max lying on a bed, but cares more about the bedding being ruined than Max's health. A robot gives Max some pills to help him with the pain and will keep him physically functional until he dies. Right after the last mission, Jessica is summoned by Patel, the president of Elysium. He isn't fond of Jessica's methods and doesn't support the irresponsible killing of people. But Jessica claps back by saying that she won't allow the homes of their future children, Elysium, to be raided by the Earthers. Patel, however, threatens Jessica to fire her if she causes more casualties and orders her to stop using Kruger immediately. Back on the Earth, Kruger is told to return all his weapons because his service isn't needed anymore. He is enraged and feels betrayed by Jessica. Meanwhile, Max's criminal friend Julio sees him limping back from work and goes to help him. After Julio helps him to take his medicine, Max asks him to find Spider. He is now desperate to go to Elysium as soon as possible to use a med bay to heal himself. Max and Julio go to meet Spider and ask him to send Max to Elysium in turn for a favor Max did for him 3 years ago. Spider instead offers him a task to plug into the brain of one of Elysium's high-ranking officials in order to obtain passcodes and other secret data. Spider wants to use the information to acquire money from the official's bank account. If Max can do that, Spider will make sure Max gets to Elysium and gets his treatment. Max has no other way to save his own life, so he accepts the offer. It turns out the high-ranking official that Max has to get the information from is John, the man who cared more about bedsheets than Max's life. However, Spider knows that Max cannot fulfill his mission in his current physical condition. So, he performs a procedure on him to attach a third-generation powered exoskeleton to his body and connect a neural chip to his brain. This looks like a painful way to get superpowers. I think I'd rather get bitten by a spider. The exoskeleton gives Max the strength that is equal to a police robot. In the following scene, we see CEO John meet Jessica, who is fed up with the president's ideologies. She wants John to reboot and override Elysium's computer core and reinstate her as the new president. John agrees to do the job and goes back to Earth to reboot the computer program as per her demand. He also programs a denial system that would kill anyone attempting to download data from his brain. He then boards a shuttle for a flight to Elysium, but the shuttle is shot by Max and his team before it can leave Earth. They find the CEO and are about to extract the required information from him, but a droid confronts them and a shootout ensues. John is shot in the process. They manage to defeat the droid and get the required information from John's brain. Jessica is angered about John's situation, and she immediately sends Kruger to get the people who attacked John. Kruger and his men arrive at the location and start firing at Max and his team. All of his teammates, including his best friend Julio, are killed, but Max manages to flee from the scene. Jessica is now stressed, knowing that someone has access to her top-secret mission to overthrow the president. She jams all the signals in the area so that no other spaceships can leave. Meanwhile, Kruger also gets his hands on the data that was extracted from John's brain. He realizes the data is actually Jessica's secret program and encourages his men to retrieve more of it, presumably for his own benefit. In the meantime, a heavily injured Max goes to ask for help from Frey. She brings him to her house and dresses his wounds. He wakes up the following day to see a little girl in front of him. It turns out that she is Frey's daughter, who is ill from leukemia and has very little time left to live. Frey asks Max to take her to Elysium, but Max claims that he is being pursued by very dangerous people, and if they are associated with him, they will be killed too. After he leaves, Kruger and his men arrive looking for Max. They take Frey and her little daughter hostage when they find out Max was treated there the previous night. After a while, Max goes to Spider with the code he retrieved from John's brain, but is disappointed to find that all airspaces have been jammed by Jessica. This means that Spider cannot keep his end of the offer, and Max cannot be sent to Elysium. Spider goes through the code in Max's brain and is beyond surprised to see that it is code to reset and reboot the entirety of Elysium. If they can manage to rewrite the codes and make everyone a citizen of Elysium, all humans could enjoy the medbay facility, leaving no more disease in the world. Spider tries to convince Max to wait until they can override Elysium's system, which might take 5 days, but with hours left to live, Max wants to sell the data to Jessica in turn for a chance to use the medbay and save his life. Max realizes that Kruger needs him alive, so when he comes to get him, Max simply turns himself in. Inside Kruger's ship, he is surprised to see Frey and her daughter both abducted. Kruger tells Jessica about them finding the code, and Jessica lifts the airspace jam, allowing Kruger's ship with Frey, her daughter, and Max to come to Elysium. This also gives Spider and his men a chance to pursue Max. They get into a spaceship with the intention of finding Max and using the code for the benefit of humanity. Back on Kruger's ship, he misbehaves with Frey, which angers Max. As Max retaliates, their little argument turns big, and a shootout occurs inside the ship. Max throws a grenade at Kruger, blowing half of his face off. The ship's control system is damaged, and it crashes onto a lavish house in Elysium. Jessica orders for everyone aboard the ship to be brought to her. Frey brings her daughter out of the destroyed ship and goes inside the nearest house looking for a medbay. She finds one and tries to use it on her daughter, but it doesn't work since she doesn't have citizenship. The guards eventually catch all of them and take them to Jessica. Kruger's men put Kruger in a medbay and fix his face. Meanwhile, Jessica puts Max on a machine to extract all the information from his head, but the extraction is sure to kill him. She asks her men to go ahead with it because Max's life is worth nothing to her. After Jessica leaves, Kruger's men take Frey and her daughter back. The doctors are about to extract the information from Max's brain and kill him, but he manages to free himself just in time. At the same time, Jessica belittles Kruger for crashing his spaceship and threatening the life of Elysium's citizens. As she insults him, an enraged Kruger stabs her in the neck. He plans to rewrite the code and make himself the president of Elysium. Kruger's men set off to kill all the politicians in the facility, while he goes to rewrite the code. Meanwhile, Spider and his men also land on Elysium, looking for Max. They are in the facility tracking his location. Max, on the other hand, is looking for Frey when he sees that Spider is in the facility through a screen. He contacts him and tells him to go forward with the plan of making everyone Elysium's citizen, and thus eradicating all diseases from Earth. Max then rescues Frey and meets Spider at the same time. He sends Frey to the nearest medbay and asks her to wait until they recode everyone as Elysium's citizen so her daughter can be healed. After that, Max, along with Spider, make their way to recode the system, but are caught by Kruger on the way. Max and Kruger get into an intense fight, but Max is easily overpowered. However, the course of the fight changes when Max manages to take off Kruger's neural chip, thus dismantling his whole system. After defeating him, Max and Spider get to the mainframe and get ready to extract the code from Max's brain. However, since CEO John had coded that anyone who extracts the code will be killed, the only way to save everyone else in the world is for Max to die. In his limited time, Max calls Frey and tells her that he had kept the promise he made to her when they were little. He then looks at the Earth and compares it to a locket his nun caretaker had given him way back. After the emotional moment, he presses the button to reboot Elysium's system and sacrifices himself in the process. The system then registers every human as a citizen. Freya's daughter is healed in the medbay. Meanwhile, many ships are sent to the Earth with medbays to help people recover from diseases and injuries. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.